Joy, your new book is all about Trump's impact on America. Do you think we'll be able to recover from his presidency once he finally leaves office? I keep saying he never will.
Well, you know what? He keeps saying he never will, right?
Now he's doing it.
Now he's doing it. You know, it's going to be very hard. I interviewed a lot of people from all around the world who all said one thing. The thing that America has said about itself since World War II, we kind of suspected might be a bit bullshit. Donald Trump has made us feel, yep, it was always bullshit. We don't believe it anymore. So getting the world to believe again, to believe that we are
the good people,
the good people, the leader of the free world, the real democracy, the multicultural democracy.
I think that went pretty far down after Vietnam, you know. I mean,
yeah, but he's cratered it. And the other thing is it's like supply chains, right? So Donald Trump does a tariff war. People stop buying our soybeans. Do you think because Kamala Harris is president, suddenly they'll be like, oh, we're going to buy your soybeans again? No, they've already found other people to buy from. And they don't just revert back. So economically, a lot of the damage will be really, really hard to do.
All right, so let's talk about what went down on Overtime with Bill Maher. Because y'all, it was spicy. Bill brought the heat, and the panel did not hold back. The whole episode was a straight-up brawl over politics, democracy, and yes, the never-ending shadow of Donald Trump. One of the biggest flashpoints? Joy Reid from MSNBC, absolutely going off about Trump's lasting impact. According to her, the guy didn't just break a few norms, he bulldozed America's reputation on the world stage. She's saying even after he's gone, the damage is still gonna linger like political smoke in the curtains. And honestly, she's not wrong. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. This wasn't some kumbaya moment of unity against Trump. Nah, the left was clashing with the left. Seth MacFarlane, Adam Gopnik, Max Brooks, all on deck, diving into everything from the collapse of institutional trust to the mess that is political discourse on Twitter. And Maher, as usual, played referee with a twist of devil's advocate. He even called out the left for putting too much faith in people like Robert Mueller to be some kind of anti-Trump messiah. Spoiler, that didn't work out. What made this episode hit different is that it exposed just how fractured things are, not just between conservatives and liberals, but within the progressive crowd itself. Everyone agrees Trump broke the system, but nobody can agree on how to fix it. Sound familiar? Bottom line, real time is still one of the few places where people come to scrap out the real stuff, unfiltered. No scripts, no safe zones, just raw opinions. And whether you're cheering or cringing, you can't say it's boring. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Joy Reid right about the long-term damage? Or is the left too busy fighting itself to even notice what's coming next? That like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, Seth, what are your thoughts on Twitter's new policy that it will label the tweets of national figures that break the platform's rules?
That's a really fucking hard question. That's you know, that's
tweets of that will break. What are the rules?
Again, this falls into the category of, you know, if I was running Twitter, I would not know. I would curl up into a fetal position and hide in a corner. It's the hardest question in the world to ask because it's you want absolute freedom of speech, but at the same time, Twitter's impact and the impact of Facebook and the impact of social media is undeniably potent. So there is some regulatory responsibility to prevent the dissemination of bullshit information. But how do you go down that road? It's the only advice I can give is to the people up top is just use your brain, you know, case by case. I don't know how to.
I would say to most of the normal people out there, you have to stand up to Twitter. Yeah. That's what has to happen. That's what liberals are not doing. They do it privately.
The problem is that's easier said than done because you have the press that latches on to it for the sake of clickbait.
I don't know. We got to stick together.
A better educated public wouldn't be as susceptible to it. I mean, they've tried this all over the world. Russia has, and it's been more potent here.
And I think we also need to be responsible to push back on just on a personal level. I mean, I had a friend once who posted an article on Facebook that said the Russians are feeding people in Aleppo. Why aren't we doing that? Well, I clicked on the link, went to another link, went to another link, which went to Bashar al-Assad's website. And I had to call her out and say, you do realize you are forwarding the article of a dictator. She didn't know. She said, oh, my God, no idea. So if we smell bullshit, we need to be community leaders as well as big and public about it.
If there's one thing Overtime with Bill Maher always brings to the table, it's those raw, gloves-off conversations that hit where it hurts. And in this episode, the debate over social media and free speech was front and center. He dove into the big Twitter paradox. Should it be a wide-open public square where everyone gets a voice, or does it need to step in and regulate what people, especially powerful people, are saying? At the core of it was Twitter's whole policy of slapping labels on tweets from political figures that break the rules. That's the classic Silicon Valley tightrope, right? How do you protect free speech without letting misinformation flood the feed and torch the place? And McFarlane, to his credit, didn't pretend to have the magic fix. He basically said, look, if I ran Twitter, I wouldn't know what to do either. And honestly, that hits. Most of us feel the same. We want a free internet, but we also don't want it to be a chaos machine running on rage clicks and conspiracy threads. But then the panel took it global. They brought up how in countries like Iran and China, Twitter isn't just monitored, it's completely shut down if it starts sparking resistance. Let that sink in. The same app we're arguing over here is considered dangerous enough to block entirely over there. It's a reminder that free speech online is a luxury not everyone gets. And Maher, true to form, called out double standards. He pointed out how both the left and right flip-flop on this issue. 1 minute it's free speech for all, the next it's cancel this person, ban that person. There's no consistent principle, just tribal outrage depending on who's talking. The big takeaway: social media's influence is massive, and its responsibilities are totally unclear. Whether it's politicians tweeting nonsense, billionaires playing digital referee, or governments deciding who gets access at all, we're stuck in a system no one fully understands.
Absolutely true. It also is important to turn off your phone. I mean, it's to remember that Twitter is not reality, and it's something that I think we saw in the debates. That if you believe that the Twitter mob is the real world, you're going to get in trouble. And it's easy enough to turn off your phone and walk out in the...
They're bullies.
Do you think it's getting to the point where this thing that we've created is getting so powerful and having such an impact that it's almost like a department of social media?
Yes.
To be created in the U.S.
Yes. Well, but then what would they do?
And who would staff it and what?
They'd be on fucking Twitter all day.
That's right.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say about that, Seth, is that when you think about it, Twitter only works in a context where you have the institutions that allow free speech to be propagated.
Yeah, I'm not advocating. I'm just asking.
You saw, remember in Iran at the time of the so-called Green Revolution, Twitter was alive and sparkling, and they shut it down. And Harry will do the same thing in Hong Kong
and
China,
in China, much the same thing.
So, given those choices, Twitter is properly protected by liberal institutions. That's more important than the fact that bad information does get out, and we have to then correct with good information. That's the way the system should work.
And I can tell you the companies don't accept any responsibility.
Yeah.
I was at a conference in D.C. for the Atlantic Council, and they were asking about national security on social media. And I won't say which company, but a rep basically said, like, hey, we're just the carton. We're not responsible for the eggs inside. It's nothing to do with us.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're relying. It's at the end of it all comes down to the conscience of Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg, and do they want to do what's right? And,
Well,
I don't know what's
When's
right.
the last time you posted to Facebook? The first thing that'll happen when you
I think it was like
hit send.
2006.
Right. I mean, I've only been recently doing it for this marketing stuff. The first thing you get is boost post. So they're immediately trying to monetize your post. It can be about your cat. They're like, do you want to send this to 20 more people? $30, you can do it. I mean, they are trying to make money based on how many people use it, even if the people aren't real people. They don't care if they're humans. They don't care if it's a, troll farm in, Dubrovsk. They don't care. They just want the money. And so the problem is saying they're just a platform. They're not.
No.
They're also monetizing us. We're not the customer. We're the product.
One of the most eye-opening moments came when the panel talked about just how casually people share content online. We are talking about people reposting dramatic headlines, viral videos, or hot takes without even checking the source. And in one example, the trail led all the way back to a propaganda site linked to the Assad regime. That's not just careless, that's dangerous. The point is, most people don't fact check. They see something flashy and hit share like they're swiping on Tinder. No context, no research, no accountability. But here's the real question. Can we actually blame the users when the platforms are literally built to reward that behavior? As the panel pointed out, social media doesn't care if what you post is true or false. It cares if it keeps you on the app. Facebook's algorithm doesn't know the difference between a peer-reviewed article and a conspiracy theory. It just knows which one gets more rage clicks and angry reactions. And as long as outrage equals profit, misinformation isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's thriving. This is where the conversation gets real. Because yeah, tech companies should be held accountable, but we can't ignore our own role in this. If we want a smarter, more informed society, we've got to stop sharing every viral post without thinking. We need to verify sources, question everything, and slow down before becoming part of the problem. The internet gave everyone a voice, and that's powerful. But that power comes with responsibility. If we don't use it wisely, we're basically handing over reality to the algorithm. Alright, that's the breakdown. If you're into this kind of thought-provoking content, make sure to like the video, drop a comment below, and hit subscribe to stay in the loop. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a post. Let me know in the comments, do you think social media should do more to fight misinformation? Or is it all on us as users? Let's keep this conversation going. See you in the next one.